Hi, just a couple of thoughts from me, something that's been on my mind and heart. Be kinder to each other. It's difficult for all of us out there, and we can make everyone's way a little bit easier through kindness and thoughtfulness. If you make a nice dish, share it. Family, friends, or stranger. And always remember to give an easy smile. Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make some pumpkin spice cinnamon rolls using Yudane or Tangzhong, which is really great in making the dough extra light. It retards staleness. It keeps a high hydration into our flour. And we made the Yudane yesterday, and that's 3/4 of a cup of flour and 2/3 of scalded milk. You'll see in the recipe, which is in my description box. So I'll take you through the rest of the ingredients, and this is just for the dough. So we've got the Yudane or the Tangzhong and the pumpkin puree. We've got 3 eggs, well actually 2 eggs and 1 egg yolk. I've got softened butter, sugar, flour, yeast, salt, and vanilla. Let's get started. So we'll start with the Yudane, which goes into our stand mixer. Here I've got my little guide for the mixing bowl, and I can add my flour. And I'm just going to add all of that in. Again, you can find the full list of ingredients and recipe on my website at garysurbanlarder.com. And you can also find a link in the description box below. We have a dough hook attachment that we're using on the stand mixer today, which should make things a bit easier. We won't be kneading by hand, but we will obviously go through 2 proving stages with this, one before we form the dough and the second afterwards. Adding our yeast now and our sugar. Before we add our salt, I'm going to just turn this on to combine the yeast, flour, and sugar just in the bowl before we add the salt. And now I'm going to add our salt. And we do that because salt can kill yeast. So I'm going to again combine the dry. And that's all I need to do for the moment. I'm going to add in our pumpkin puree. That goes in. These are our liquids, our vanilla extract. And I'm going to start that, and then I'm going to just add in our eggs. So I've started the mixer on low, and I'm just going to add in our eggs now. And we're going to let that just turn. We'll increase the speed. We'll let our dough hook do the work. And we want that to come together first before we add in our softened butter. So I will just let that run for now. I may scrape down the sides every once in a while, but it's really starting to combine. You can come and take a look, actually. I've increased our speeds, and I'm going to start to add in our butter. And the butter also enriches the dough like our egg. So I'm going to add the rest of our butter and continue to knead this in our mixer until it passes the window pane test. So I'm just going to scrape down the bottom where there's a little flour left, and we'll let that go for a little bit longer until it passes the window pane test. So up it goes.
And on it goes for another 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, it's beating quite hard. My stand mixer wants to jump off the counter. So let's see if it passes the test now. So give it a pull. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. So we'll get it into a greased bowl that we will then cover and let that proof. This is the first proving. You can see our dough looks pretty good. Now I'm going to shape this by putting this on the counter. I want to shape it into a ball. And I'm just going to take the palm of my hand and push that using the tension of the counter itself, of the work surface itself, to help shape that into a ball. So we want to create some surface tension. That's why I'm doing that. Not too much, but there we have our shaped dough. So just going to put that in and turn that over. And now we cover and we wait. It should double in size, so 45 minutes to an hour. Our dough has been proving now for 2 hours. I said 45 minutes to an hour. Hour and a half to 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. We're going to pull it out soon and we'll roll it out. But first, I want to make our filling. So I have some pumpkin puree and I have some brown sugar. So I'm going to save some of that, adding half. And pumpkin spice. Now this is a blend of cinnamon, clove, allspice, and nutmeg. So I'm just going to mix that together before adding some butter. Oh, it smells great. This smells like pumpkin spice. So this we're going to spread all over our dough. So in goes the butter, maybe a little more pumpkin spice. And just push that with the spatula to combine. That's going to give it extra richness and help in the baking. So there'll just be bits of butter flecked through this, and that's fine. I will spread this on with an offset spatula. I've got a pan here, 9 by 13, which I buttered and lined with parchment. Now you don't have to line it, but I'm lining it because I want to remove them easily. So I've got that ready to go. I got some flour for dusting, and I think I'm set. All we need now is the dough. And here's our dough. It has doubled in bulk, and I'm just going to punch that down. So just pulling that together. Good. And now I'm just going to dust the surface lightly with some flour and my hands. And out comes our dough. And I'm just first going to use my hands and just spread that out to a rectangular shape. And we want this a bit longer, a bit wider than it is wide. A bit longer than it is wide. Let's get rid of it. Okay. We'll get this rolled out. Just flour the top a bit. We just want that in a rectangular shape. And then we'll spread our pumpkin spice filling all over it. So I'm just going to keep stretching this and turning it so that it doesn't stick. We want this fairly thin. So I'm just going to get it to the edge as best I can in my limited space. So we'll fill our pan, and I decided that I'm going to also use some muffin tins. So I'll do part in each. So I've greased the muffin tins. Make sure we get all those little bits of gas, of air out of there. I mean, it's risen beautifully. So a little longer than I expected, but I think we've got that as thin as I can manage it in the limited space I have here. So, and I have to say the dough is looking really good. So I've got it fairly even, fairly thin. And now we want to take our pumpkin spice and brown sugar filling, and I'm just going to disperse that over the surface sort of equally. Going to use all of it. And there. Now I have an offset spatula, which I'm going to use to spread this all over our dough, keeping it off the far edge. So I want that to stick, to bind in our rolls. So, I mean, the fragrance of this, I have to admit, is really, really good. So, not a favorite. My friend Jordan would hate me. But hey, Jordan, come and have some. I know you'll love these. So, I think that pretty much has it covered. I'm going to add a bit more brown sugar. Why not? Just going to sprinkle that over our dough. And now, starting at the edges closest to me, I'm going to just start to fold that over and pinch that in. And we'll just continue to roll that as tightly as we can, sort of pulling back as we roll, because we want that a fairly tight roll. Just pull that back a little. Now I do have my scraper in case anything sticks to the board, but so far, so good. And there we go. There's our end. Just going to pull that over. I'm just sort of pinching that just so that it stays together. And I have a serrated knife, which I'm going to use to cut it. And I'm going to cut these about an inch, inch and a half. And I'm going to save these ends. I think they'll go into our muffin tin. So let's see, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's get some 8 equally sized rolls. So, and I want them to have a little room because when we prove them, we want them to spread out. So this is going to be absolutely amazing. Remember, we're going to do a bourbon maple syrup glaze on these. So, just want to make sure I get these properly spaced so that we give them enough room to spread out. 2 more and then our pan is full. Right. So I'll set this aside. Those will cover and will prove. And I'm going to take my end and just pop it into our tray. And I'm just going to turn that around and do the same thing with our other end. Those will be the chef's treats. So again, I'm going to do about an inch, inch and a half cuts and just put those in our tin. So in this way, you can see the difference from using a muffin tin. Get that in there and just doing it in a 13x7 pan. So, okay, likewise, these will prove now for 45 minutes. Shouldn't take longer than that. I'll cover them and then we'll put them in our moderately hot oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, and we'll cook them for about 35 to 40 minutes. While the rolls are baking, we'll make our icing. Very simple: bourbon, maple syrup, softened butter, and icing sugar, confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, whatever you want to call it, and a little hand mixer. So I'm going to start actually by adding our butter, and I'm going to add our maple syrup. That's about 2 tablespoons. All of the ingredients and measurements you can find at my website. There's a link in the description box, takes you straight to it. So we'll just start this on slow and start to incorporate that. And as that incorporates, we'll start adding our whiskey, which will thin it. And it's that simple to make it. Now, when this hits the warm rolls, it will melt and it will spread all over the rolls. So it is a little thick. Always add a splash more of the bourbon or of the maple syrup. You know what? I think it's worth tasting, actually. That is wickedly good. All we need now are the rolls. So we'll just wait. And our first cinnamon rolls are out of the oven and they look fantastic. The others are in, they'll come out soon. But the first thing I want to do is to get some of our maple bourbon icing on these. Oh, these are going to be fantastic. I want the icing to just fall all over it. Looks like I'll have to make some more for the next, but that's okay. Just have a look at that. Aren't those wonderful? spatula so I can get every bit of this icing out of our bowl and onto our rolls. Just beautiful. I have to say, the smell from the icing itself, the maple syrup and the bourbon, stunningly beautiful. So I'll make some more and we'll ice the next ones when they come out, and we'll let these cool just a bit before we try them. And our final bit of cinnamon rolls have come out of the oven. They are not as beautiful as the others, if I'm honest, but they still deserve some of this beautiful icing. So get that on there. And I mean, they're so big. They're just amazing. I mean, I know these are going to be absolutely delicious. And I know I'm not a big fan of cinnamon, but from little tastings along the way, I think this is going to be absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. And no, I'm not going to eat all of these. I'm going to give them away. It is time to try one of these and show you how beautiful the pastry is. So I'm going to pick the smallest one, believe it or not. So we're going to go for this one. What do you think? Oh my goodness. It is absolutely beautiful. Just going to put that on the plate for a second. Oh, we've lost some of the pumpkin spice. We've got pumpkin spice on the countertop. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The glaze on it. Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, this is so soft and billowy. Look at that. How it just pulls apart. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Boy, that's delicious. It is rich. Seriously good. I'm going to finish it. The pastry is so light. Really delicious. I got sticky fingers. Well, thank you for joining me today at Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Also, please remember to subscribe to the channel. It's free. And ring that notification bell so you won't miss a single delicious recipe. And finally, please share this video with your friends. It really helps the channel to grow. And if you see that hype sign below next to the like, give me a hype. All right, until next time. Bye-bye. Pumpkin spice, who knew?